Today we'll be talking about Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Make sure you pronounce that clearly. Well, Mozart, he was a very famous classical period composer, which is from the 1750s to the 1820s. His father was a violinist, and he had shown prodigious talent on the piano and violin. At the age of 5, he started composing. That's really amazing. He is a prodigy. And his father took him on the grand tour, where he went to Italy and Paris and Vienna. His father was actually the deputy director of music, so that made him in a very good position. And then they just went on the grand tour and played for many interesting and very important people, very prominent people. And when Mozart grew up, nobody really liked him because he was so young and talented, and people were really jealous. So that made him not the best person. And he kept composing operas, and operas like The Magic Flute and The Marriage of Figaro. They were really famous. Even some people are still playing them today. And I've heard that The Magic Flute must sound so nice. It must be my dream to listen to it. Let's throw myself back in, okay? Mozart's compositions include symphonies, which are, it looks like this big orchestra, and there's lots of double basses and cellos and violins and bassoons and organs and lots of stuff. And then there's chamber music. He composed lots of that because he was appointed to be the chamber musician. He also composed lots of violin sonatas and lots of violin concertos, and he also composed many operas, which is why he became famous, because some of his most famous operas were The Marriage of Figaro and The Magic Flute. He also composed chamber music, as I said before, and that includes violin quintets and quartets, and cello quintets and quartets, and oboes, and flutes, and clarinets, and bassoons, and horns, and so many instruments. Some of Mozart's contemporaries, which means other people in his period, include Haydn and Beethoven. They composed lots of sonatas, and Salieri and Clementi. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart is from the classical period, which in a lot of cases has a very light and elegant texture. There's lots of homophonic texture, which is when there's a single melody over a chord accompaniment. Then there's lots of ornamentation, I can't speak today, which is trills, mordents, and turns. They're used a lot in classical music. Usually there are short, balanced phrases, and usually there are lots of broken chords and scales in it. There was also lots of modulation between very closely related keys, like dominant and relative minors and relative majors. And the most important question is, what is a sonata? Well, a sonata is a composition that is designed to be played by a soloist and orchestra, even though sometimes we kind of cheat and use piano accompanist. Well, the second most important thing is that in both of my pieces I'm playing today, they're in sonata form. Sonata form is when it consists of three main parts. And the first part is the exposition, which is when the orchestra comes in and the violin comes in, or whatever instrument you're playing. And then the second one is the development, which is when the composer, he develops on the first one, on the exposition, and he makes it more exciting, and it's the most interesting part of the music. It's the climax of the music. And then here it comes, the recapitulation. I used to pronounce it recapitulation. It's weird. It's called recapitulation. This is the ending of the piece, basically. Well, one very important thing about the sonata form. In the exposition, there's the first subject, the second subject, and the codetta. Well, the second subject is normally in the dominant key. It shifts to the most modulate. It modulates to another key. But in the recapitulation, the second subject, it stays in the tonic key. That's the most amazing and most wondrous part of the sonata form. Okay, well, the third most important thing, lots of important things in music, so many to memorize, is what is a cadenza? Well, a cadenza is a composition that is designed for a soloist to play towards the end of a sonata or movement, and it's when the orchestra or piano accompaniment in this case doesn't play. And then we just show off and go, oh, 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 and then we're just like, we're so cool, right? Time to learn some Italian signs. I sound like a teacher, hey? Which one is it? Oh yes, there's one. It's called grazioso. If that's how you pronounce it, grazioso, whatever. It means very graceful, smooth, or elegant. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is risoluto. It sounds like resolution, right? Yes, that's what it means. It means resolute or it means bold. Okay, the third Italian sign is dim. That's the short version of diminuendo. Say that, diminuendo, diminuendo. Those tongue twisters. Diminuendo means gradually getting soft. And of course, you know these crescendos and espressivo, which means expressively. Like, they're really easy, right? Not. Well, the one we're gonna learn now is crescendo and assai. This means gradually louder and gradually getting faster too. Okay, the next one is poco lento. It means a little bit slower. Okay, yeah, we know that. A tempo, getting faster. No, not getting faster. Returning to the normal tempo, yes. Okay, this is a very important term that I've seen many times. Leggero or leggero. It means lightly. Do you know why I remember leggero so well? Well, that's because I've played the bumblebee on the piano before. And the thing that I learned was there was an Italian sign saying leggero. And I was like, what does that mean? I don't really care. And then I went into a competition and I started playing it really, really loud. And then the adjudicator, she was like, I wonder, leggero, doesn't that mean lightly? Ooh, no. Bad marks, down. And I learned my lesson. Okay, the next one is tutti. Tutti means the whole orchestra. Everyone is involved. The next one is dolce, of course. It's like, what's it called? Candy. Yes, it means sweetly. Every time you play something, or when you play it like a piece or a sonata and it says dolce, you're just like, I want to eat lollies, I want to eat chocolate. Oh, taste it in your mouth and you will play. Okay, the next one is tranquillo. This meaning, the word is very similar to the English word tranquil, which means calmly, which probably just gives you your answer. The next one is molto cantabile. That means a lot of singing. Like the way you play it, or the way you play it on the piano, it has to be like you're singing, like, oh. Even though my singing isn't the best, it's just a bit. Okay, next one is poco assai. Of course we know what that means. A little bit, gradually. A little bit faster. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and listen to all my other videos. Bye!